Hello and welcome back to the Training Tom podcast, the place where I share how I am training myself to navigate through life. And today, I have no idea what this episode is called yet, so yeah, let's just see how it goes. Well, I think the first place to start is why I've got no idea what this episode is going to be called. I'm a little bit frazzled today. I've been out on my bike. I cycled the furthest I've cycled all year. I did 91 kilometres or just over 56 miles. And I was feeling really good on the ride. But yeah, now that I've finished and I've stopped, I kind of crashed, so I don't really know how the episode's going to go, if I'm totally honest. But let's just dive into a few things, as always, and see where this episode takes us, which could be quite exciting. Might find it interesting, just me talking about a couple of random things. Well, they're not random, but maybe I'm just going to ramble on for 20 minutes or so. We'll see what happens. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is a little update for my Ironman training. So those of you that have been following along for a little while now will know that I've signed up to Ironman Leeds this year. And it is the first Ironman in England for, I think it's about 7 or 8 years. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I've been training a lot for that as well. And I want to talk a little bit about how my progress is going, but also how my training progress is going. There we go. And also talk about how I'm trying to manage my time with the training as well, because yeah, it's a big undertaking and I definitely am managing the time somehow, but I could be managing my time a lot better as well. So if I quickly just recap all the training that I've done this week. So swimming has been a little bit lower than the week before. This week I did 4,350 metres of swimming across 2 sessions. Now the reason it was a bit lower this week than the previous week was because I actually had to not cut one of my sessions short, because I didn't manage my time very well for my second swim session. I actually got kicked out of the pool before, like when the session finished. So the pool closed because there were swimming lessons going on and I didn't get a chance to finish my session. So I got kicked out of the pool before I could finish my session, which I told my coach was just down to me. Like, I went to bed a bit later than I was hoping to, and that had a knock-on effect on me getting up a bit later and not getting to the session as early as I would have liked, which then meant I wasn't able to complete the full session. I still managed to get some good training done, but I was about 900 metres short on that session. So if I have managed the extra 900 metres, that would have put me on 5,250 metres for the week, which would still be lower than the week before, but it would have been, yeah, up there with the training that I have done. So that's a little bit disappointing, and like I say, I'm still trying to figure out the best way for me to manage my time in some of these sessions. However, the positives from swimming is that I'm actually really enjoying it at the moment. So swimming has always been I'm going to say my weakest element, but changing where I usually swim, or should I say over the course of the past couple of months, swimming in the local leisure centre rather than at the gym that I go to has made a huge difference. And I'm really enjoying swimming. It's something that I haven't always enjoyed, but this time round I seem to be in a good rhythm and kind of finding my feet with swimming, and my technique seems to be improving as well, which is really encouraging to see. And I guess natural when you're swimming 4,000-5,000 metres a week. So yeah, that is the swimming side of things. Cycling. Now, With cycling, I have cycled 133.55 kilometers this week, which is the biggest week I've had for a long time. Last week was 107.8 kilometers, but yeah, I would say I haven't cycled anywhere near this much since I did my 100-mile bike ride back in 2023. So that's been really nice because the clocks changed a few weeks ago. I've been able to get out on the bike in the evenings after work sometimes, and I've been able to get on some nice long rides at the weekend, and today was a prime example of that. Like I said, I cycled 91 kilometers or 56, just over 56 miles, and was out for nearly 3 hours and a quarter. And it just felt really nice to be out on the bike, cycling on the roads. The sun was shining, it was a lovely temperature as well, so everything just felt really good, and I actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's really nice to see cycling distance is creeping up and getting to a good level. The challenge that I'm going to find now is getting the elevation in. So the course for Ironman Leeds has been released, and there's over 2,500 meters of climbing during the bike course. So today's ride, I managed just over 610 meters of elevation, and that was across half of the distance. So if I had have done that route twice, I would still only be just about half the amount of elevation that I would need to cover for the whole Ironman in Leeds. So I am going to have to start finding some time to go out to different places, perhaps different counties, to try and find more elevation and start practicing the hill element of things, because living in Essex, as you can imagine, is very, very flat. There's not many hills. Even today I had to go searching for some hills to get the elevation up a little bit. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm hoping that the elevation that I do have around Essex, and if I decide to go away and find different counties and different places to cycle, I can get the elevation up, but also with indoor training, so training on the watt bike, which is what I tend to do during the week, I can get some strength into my legs so that I can still handle the hills when I get to Leeds and not find it too much of a challenge, even though I might not have cycled many hills in the lead up to it. And last but by no means least, the run. So running this week, I have done 27.11 kilometers. The week before I did 23.79, and if I look across the past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, this is the biggest week of running that I've also had. So in terms of my cycling and my running, they've both been the biggest weeks that I've had in the past, well, yeah, I'd say the past year. So it's really encouraging to see that I'm able to get the distance up in both of those elements, because they are the biggest elements of the, excuse me, the biggest elements of the Ironman. And getting the distance up in those areas is, yeah, going to be really key, I'm sure, as I move forwards with this training plan and with the program that I'm following and that my coach has set. And I think the reason why it was nice just to spend a bit of time today reflecting on how training is going is because at the time of recording, and you know, you'll be listening to this the day after I've recorded it, if I'm being like brutally honest, I have exactly 3 months until Ironman Leeds. So the fact that I'm running more than half the distance that I need to run during a week, the fact that I am cycling more than half the distance, way more than half the distance that I'll need to do on the day across the week, and that I'm swimming across the whole week more than the distance that I will be swimming, I feel like I'm in a really good place. And considering when I was talking at the start of the year and when I was talking about whether I'd actually be able to get to the start line, let alone get to the finish line, I'm feeling very confident that I'll not only be able to get to the start line, but I'll be able to get to the finish line as well. So yeah, it's really encouraging to see all of the stats, especially from the distances, but also just the consistency that I'm able to get with my training at the moment. You know, looking again at my Strava, I've managed 7 sessions this week. So not quite one every day, which is good because it's important for me to have rest days and to be able to recover a little bit. But I've had a double session day this week. So on Tuesday, I swam in the morning and I ran in the evening, which was nice because I could get both of those sessions in. I managed to make the time for that. But yeah, it was still tough because it's been a busy week at work as well. So trying to balance everything, like I've spoken before in the past, is okay at the moment, is manageable. But I know that in the future, especially now that I'm 3 months out, as the weeks go on, the training volume is going to increase even further, and I'm going to have to be much more organised with my time to make sure that I can fit all of my training in. I anticipate that there'll be some more double session days throughout the next few weeks, or throughout the next 12 weeks. The distance is going to be going up. The amount of time that I spend training is going to be going up by a couple of hours, if not a few more. So yeah, I need to, or I would like to be more disciplined with my time, just to make sure that I can get the balance right. And I know that I've spoken about this in previous episodes, that getting the balance right can be really difficult, especially when I'm working full time, I'm dating somebody at the moment, I'm trying to socialise with friends, trying to train for my Ironman, I'm trying to be present at home with my family, all of those different things. And also sleep and look after my health, because I know that I've spoken about my health in the past as well. So yeah, trying to get the balance right is going to be challenging over the next 10 weeks, I think. But that just requires me being more disciplined with my time and making sure that I am managing things better, because quite frankly, I know that I'm not at the moment, and I could be managing things better. So yes, we will see what the next few weeks will bring. I'll be managing my time, or I would like to manage my time better, even to make sure that I can get these podcast episodes done a bit more frequently, and make sure, or not more frequently, that's definitely not the right word, but just make sure that I can be more timely with them. Like I've said, today it's Sunday, this episode will be released tomorrow, and yeah, it's not the best way for me to manage my time to make sure that I'm getting these podcast episodes out in a timely way, and also releasing the content that I want to release. Like I say, I've got no idea what this episode is going to be called yet, so let's see what the next few months brings. I'm also conscious that I said that I was going to be releasing some content on YouTube. I'm still planning to do that. I just don't know what that will look like at the moment. And I have spoken to my friend. We definitely both want to get some content produced. Maybe the way that we do that will change because I've left it too long. But I would still like to produce something just to document the journey that I've been on and the journey that I will be going on in the future months. And also to, give both of us an exciting little project to work on. So as if I wasn't busy enough already, throwing that into the mix will be an extra little challenge. And it actually leads me quite nicely onto something else that I would like to talk about today, which is actually trying to slow down and stay in the moment. Because as you can probably gather from everything that I've spoken about during today's episode, I constantly feel like I'm moving at 100 miles per hour. And this is great because it gives me focus, it gives me something to look forward to all the time, and it gives me something to have goals something to have goals. It gives me goals to focus on, but it also means that sometimes I don't stay very present. I'm always thinking of the next thing. You know, once I've finished my training session, okay, what's my next meal going to be? Once I've had that next meal, what's the next meal after that? How much time do I need to leave between my next meal and my training session? What does my training look like across the next week? When am I going to fit in time to see the person that I'm dating? When am I going to fit in time to see my friends? When am I going to fit in time to spend time with my family, to look after or to help support the household through doing different chores if I'm able to, work, if I'm traveling for work, you know, where do I need to be? How long is it going to take me to get there? Do I need to stay overnight? Do I need to book accommodation? You know, all of these things, I'm constantly thinking of what is next, what's coming up, which is okay until you're in a moment with somebody special or with people that you care about and you're not present. And this is actually something that kind of came to mind when I was with the girl that I'm dating a few weeks ago, is that for the first time in a long time, when we were, not for the first time in a long time when we were together, but when we were together, I noticed myself just being very present. My head was incredibly clear. We went out for a hike, and throughout the whole time, or throughout the whole hike, the whole day, I just felt very present. I wasn't thinking about what's next, what have I got to do, where have I got to be, who have I got to see. I was just in the moment and enjoying being in the moment, you know, with somebody that I care about. And it just made my mind feel free for the first time in a long time, which was a really pleasant feeling, and also quite reassuring that it was with the person that I'm dating too. So that was a nice feeling to have. And it also was interesting thinking about the things that I've done over the past couple of months. I actually noticed that it wasn't just with her. There was a few times when I felt very present with friends. You know, I've spoken about the wedding of two of my best friends a few weeks ago, and I felt very present during that whole weekend as well. Wasn't thinking about anything else other than having fun and celebrating two amazing people. You know, I was celebrating the engagement of two other friends over the Easter weekend, and first of all, congratulations to you both. But again, at that point, I was very present, very in the moment. Wasn't thinking about what was coming, what has happened in the past, what's happening in the future. And I know that I've spoken plenty of times about overthinking and, you know, ruminating on things, constantly thinking about the future, even worrying and having anxious thoughts about the future. But I often find that when I'm with people, especially when I'm in new situations or when I'm with people I care about, that is when I feel most present. And it was a really nice point of reflection for me to have after I'd been on that hike, and just to remind myself that yes, it's great to have goals, yes, it's great to have ambition, but also remembering to be present in the moment. Because these moments, you don't know how long they're going to last for. You don't know what is coming around the corner, and the time that you're spending with somebody special, or the time that you're spending with people that you're close to, is fleeting. So that was a really nice reminder that yes, I have goals and ambition, but I don't need to move at 100 miles per hour all of the time. I sometimes need to not take a step back, but I need to gain perspective on what I'm doing and where I am, to be present, to be a bit calmer as well, and not be like this golden retriever that is constantly bouncing around and trying to do something new and exciting. It also made me think about when I often have those overthinking thoughts, or when I feel like I'm running at 100 miles per hour. And it's often when I'm alone, when I'm don't have many plans. So, during the working week, I'm relatively busy. I'm working, I'm training, I'm managing my nutrition, I'm socializing during the week. I have enough things to do so that I don't think too much about the future and about the past and all of those things. But when it comes around to the weekend, sometimes things can slow down considerably. And when they slow down, that's when the overthinking mindset, yeah, my overthinking comes into play. I start thinking at 100 miles per hour, my thoughts run away with me, and before I know it, I start to feel anxious because I'm worried about the future, or I'm concerned and I'm ruminating on things that have happened in the past, and I'm not being present. And it's something that I'm trying to address at the moment. You could say it's a challenge that I'm currently facing, is that I'm trying to understand that when I'm alone, how can I manage these thoughts a bit better? How can I try to understand where these thoughts have come from? And also, how can I try to change those thoughts so that I am still being present in the moment, but I'm recognizing that perhaps these are unhelpful thoughts, or you could call them, like a psychological term for them is cognitive distortions, or another one is automatic negative thoughts. And yeah, when I'm alone and when I have lots of time, these are the situations where those cognitive distortions, those unhelpful thoughts, those automatic negative thoughts can sometimes come into play. So I'm doing work at the moment to try and understand where they come from, but also how I can recognize those thoughts and start changing those thoughts so that they can be more helpful, and essentially try and remold my brain so that I'm not scared of that time when I am on my own. I think it would be very easy for me to think, okay, I'm very present when I'm around other people, therefore I will just put myself around other people more often. That's great, but I also don't want to attach positive feelings to other people. Yes, I want to be positive around people, but I don't want to associate positivity with just being around people, because then it means that I'm constantly chasing to be around other people and constantly searching to be around other people, and I can't be happy necessarily or content with my own thoughts. So trying to recognize these thoughts, trying to understand them better, and trying to change them so that I can mold my brain means that I can also be content with being by myself, with being alone, which can be scary for a lot of people. But yeah, be content on my own with my own thoughts so that I'm not trying to run away from them all the time. I actually recognize them, try to understand them, so that not only can I be present when I'm with other people and be content and be happy and celebrate with other people, but I can also be content and be happy and celebrate by myself as well. I think, or one thing that I've kind of realized through dating somebody new and dating this person quite consistently, it's been amazing and fantastic, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. And it's really refreshing for me to be in that situation as well. But I also find that when I'm alone, I do have more of those negative thoughts. So because we don't live together, and it would be very unrealistic for me to think that that will happen in the short-term future, I do need to get comfortable and I do need to be content and happy by myself, as well as when I'm around her and when I'm socializing with friends as well. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. like I said, I didn't know what this episode title was going to be. I didn't know where it was going to take me necessarily. I knew that I wanted to talk about these separate things. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Hopefully that has been useful. Maybe you can, especially from that second half of the episode, talking about moving at 100 miles an hour, recognizing thoughts and things. Hopefully that's been useful. I would also like to say that the way that I'm managing that is by using an app. So I'm not getting therapy at the moment, but I'm using an app that supports you with those thoughts and supports you with, in like a cognitive behavioral therapy kind of way, which I am finding very useful. And, you know, I'm not going to name the app. There are loads of apps out there. I'm not working with them either. So it doesn't feel right for me to say that go and use this app if you're struggling with these thoughts. There are loads of apps out there, and maybe it might be worth trying them if you find that the way that I'm thinking is also affecting you as well. So yeah, just thought I'd add that on to the end there. But I'm going to leave this episode here. This has been the episode with no name currently. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Thank you for listening as always. And to round things off, my name is Tom Regan, and this is the Training Tom podcast.